I have another chess set to share with you guys. In this case, I purchased this a couple of weeks ago from House of Staunton, and it's a plastic regulation size tournament, I guess you can call it tournament chess set, triple weighted. I think that it retailed for about close to $19. I'll leave you guys a link below to this particular product. And also this product comes in triple weighted option. You can also get it in single weighted and also analysis. The only difference between the triple weighted and single weighted versus the analysis is the square size that you will get of the board will be 2.25 for the regulation, 2.25 inch versus 1.5. So you'll get a substantially smaller square size. But for people that are looking for analysis purposes, they might want to pick up the analysis style. Either way, what makes this particular product, in my opinion, kind of unique and rather different than what we've seen before is the fact that you get this sort of a chessboard here, and then you get the pieces, which we will see here in just a minute. These are triple weighted pieces, but I've had some people ask me before with regards to like, what are the regulations of terming something triple, quad weighted, or in this case, we can just take the whole bag of the light pieces and put them here onto my scale, and it's 466 grams for the light pieces and 466 grams for the dark pieces. So together, it's like 932 grams, okay? For your information, I don't know if that's gonna be useful to anybody, but that's considered triple weighted in this particular case. But going back to what I feel like is the reason why I even wanted to review this particular chess set and how it's different is the fact you get this little chessboard here, which I will open up here in just a second, that also acts as a chess bag. So when you're playing your chess game, you will take this particular chessboard out and lay it out on the table or whatever surface. Well, primarily it has to be kind of a flat surface, but you lay it out, you take your pieces out, you play your game, and once you're done with everything, you actually, this is called a cinch bag. That's what they term it on House of Staunton. It has these drawstrings here on one of the sides, right here, and you throw your pieces inside of this thing, I guess, and then it acts as your bag. So that's kind of exciting, because we're gonna see how it looks once we put everything together. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead, and I haven't even opened this up because I wanted this to be sort of a mutual experience of opening this up and kind of taking a look at everything. So I saved it for this particular video. But this is basically the way it came. It came in this box, and I had these light dark pieces and this. There's no additional bag, so that's what kind of makes this unique. We're gonna go ahead and take this out. Now, the material from which this is made, they used to have those school bags. They would have just a little drawstrings and it'd be a little in the back. Yeah, this is it. So we have the actual board right over here. Now, board design, as I've said before, in this particular case, it is considered tournament regulation size. So based on the specifications, it is actually a 2.25 inch square board. And if you're looking to get one that's a little bit smaller, you can opt to get one that's 1.5 inch that will save you some space and make the bag a little bit smaller. Okay? And then what makes this, I guess what makes this unique is that it actually acts as a bag. So it's a lot more space than you would probably need for your chess pieces, to be honest with you, but you still get this huge bag. Okay? It's big. It's big. And then because it's sort of has this double material here, when you're laying this bag out, you kind of want to do this, I guess. You can see that right now, since we've opened it, we still have a visible crease here in the middle. And my best guess is that after having the board lay out flat for a while, the crease will, I guess, disappear or minimize. The drawstring design here on top, you've got essentially these two loops, and it's looped right through the whole thing. So when you're done, let's say for instance you are done playing with your chess game, what they want you to do in this particular design is just dump your chess pieces in here. And then they want you to, like that, okay? And then the chess pieces are somewhere like right down here at the bottom, at the very bottom. Then you just sort of do this little number right here. you kind of do this. And you use these little strings because they're kind of in a loop to either carry like this, or maybe you could use them to do it like a bag style, I suppose. I don't see myself carrying it like this, but here, let's see. Yeah, no, I don't think you would, because that's kind of really low. But you could, I suppose you could carry it like that. It just doesn't, it looks kind of weird. But I think the way that they are, I think the way that they want you to carry it is going to be over your bag. That looks pretty good. It definitely doesn't look very conspicuous, especially if you turn it the other way. I'm going to my chess tournament. Yeah, buddy. That's kind of interesting. I don't know. I mean, because there's so much, and you know, you guys hear me talk about weight distribution, but because most of the chess pieces are like right here at the very bottom, right, that's it. That's where the chess pieces are. Guess you could use this to like swing at somebody. Like, that's pretty strong. I mean, because you got all that inertia, you know. You can swing this bag across the room. Yeah, so that's that. Very interesting. You know what my question is? After you're done like squishing this bag and everything like this, and just kind of doing this, if you look closely, the chess pieces, or the squares actually look very much so like creased. Will this disappear or kind of even out on its own? I'm not really sure, but you can see that like just from me doing it once, like it looks all kind of like scrunched up here. So I'm not really sure. And then my best guess is they probably could have made this bag a little bit smaller, to be honest with you, because it is I mean, this bag is kind of big, you know. You can clearly see I'm not trying to sell this product, and I don't know. Would anybody want to walk around with a bag like that? I mean, maybe some people out there actually prefer bags like this. I'm not sure. Kind of interesting. Supposedly, since you have all this extra space on the top part here, you could also throw your pen in here. You could throw your little scorebook, clock. What else can we throw in here? A sandwich, an extra blanket, maybe like if you're going to a tournament where it's kind of cold or something. Pillow. I mean, you got a lot of space here. It's almost like a little garbage bag, essentially. A little garbage bag with some chess pieces in it. I don't know. It looks good. It definitely gives you a lot of extra space. It just doesn't look very. I don't know what the word for it. First of all, everybody can see from a mile away that you're walking with a chess set, but it just kind of looks. Well, it looks the way that it looks now. That we've tossed it around a couple of times, I'm going to take out these chess pieces. We'll take a look at these. When you've arrived to your tournament, so here you are and you're ready to play your game, you got to kind of reach in there and take all the chess pieces out, and I suppose you can just turn the bag over and dump them. And now, but where are you going to dump them? On the table or something? So you have to like kind of reach in there and take them all out. There we go. I think we've taken out, nope, there was one more in there. Okay. And then once you're done, you have to kind of try to get the creases out a little bit. Try to. And good. As you notice, the area right over here where they have the little drawstrings, actually the border is a little bit thicker than it is on the other side. So it's almost asymmetrical. If you're using this particular board to play tournament games or whatnot, you could probably put your chess clock here if you wanted to, because you've got that extra bit of space. But, one of the things that you see that maybe, because, since this is a tournament board, I would probably like to see notation. So no notation here. The color, I believe this is the only color you get. You get the dark and the light. It would probably be nice to have like a green one also. Maybe different colors for people that, that are looking to get different color boards. but you just get this particular design, okay? Then you sort of lay it out, and you have to kind of, in my opinion, you have to kind of work on sort of flattening stuff out a little bit. This is what the board will look like, more or less from kind of a top view. And as I've already mentioned, one of the things that I immediately noticed, which is more noticeable on the light squares, surprisingly, than the dark ones, I guess, is when the light sort of comes from the window, as it is right now, and it's kind of coming from the side. I can definitely see all the different creases that have become apparent since the single time that we've scrunched this bag up. I feel like, as far as, you know, the entire presentation here, it doesn't look bad. You've got the regular tournament size regulation board, which is nice and distinct. We have a little light border here on the edge, if you guys can see that. It's not apparent with the light squares, but it is apparent with the dark ones. So you got a good delineation between the borders and the actual board. The board, although it does come without notation, it's clear, visible. The dark squares are kind of a little bit reflective, so they're not fully dark, like they almost look like a little bit of a dark gray. This is an example of the knight of this particular chess set. It's not super duper detailed. We have sort of these little pointy eyes with, I think the last time I reviewed a chess set similar to this was, I think, when I was talking about the Barnes & Noble chess set, but it's triple weighted, as I've mentioned before. The full weight of these pieces is 466 per side, 466 grams. We've got relatively nice felt. It's not the super thin sticker like felt. It's okay. It's kind of in the middle there. And the pieces themselves, they do feel sort of more or less nice and weighty. As far as the individual weights, this particular knight weighs in 36 grams, so that's a pretty good size. The king is got this really large sort of robust finial, as we see here on the very top. And then the overall shape of the king is kind of more or less what we'd expect with sort of a standard design. Little bit of a smoothness here on top, but not too much. And overall, a nice king. Weight-wise, it's 54 grams for the king. This isn't my favorite design for a queen as far as the shape of it, because of the way this top is. I've seen this before. Queen weighs in at 48 grams. The bishop in this case is also kind of relatively standard. It's got the thing on top there, and the little cut here kind of converges a little bit towards the exit, as you see. But kind of a nice shaped bishop. Weighs in at 27 grams. A decent sized rook. It's not too small. The top portion actually, as you can see, is a little bit more shallow, so this very top part is kind of a little bit small. Some designs make them a little bit bigger, but in this case that's kind of what we have here. And this part's shallow too, but a pretty good rook overall. 37 grams for that. And then the pawns are a little bit on the light side, in my opinion, at least the way they feel. Relatively good height here to the body of the pawn, and then a nice good size top here. Handles well. I probably wish that for a triple weighted chess set it would be a little bit more weighty, but it does weigh in at 15 grams, so not terrible. I would probably say somewhere closer to 20 grams would be more ideal, but the dark pieces are not exactly dark, and if you could see here, they're kind of like matte finish. They're not glossy, so it's almost like it's not like a pitch dark black, but it is kind of like a little bit more on the dark gray, as opposed to fully black. At least that's how they look. I think it's because of the fact that they're more matte. But yeah, so that's that. And my only concern is, if you can see on the board right now, because of the way the board was stored, and we see the central crease here, it's not sort of, I mean, I guess it will over time get nice and flat. But if you have additional creases, I feel like, especially noticeable with the pawns, like if we put the pawn on the crease, the pawn doesn't actually, it's not heavy enough to straighten, like flatten the crease out. So it will sit kind of on the side. My only concern with that particular approach is that if you get a lot of creases, is it going to, is it going to cause your pieces to be a little bit crooked? In this case, I think it's okay. I think this will flatten out over time and it'll be fine. But, as far as how it plays, I think it plays just like you would expect any other board. I really like the fact that they have the nice felt here on the bottom, the felt together with this sort of a thin-like material. It's kind of has a nice feel to it. It's a nice feel for the chess pieces. It's good. And they feel normal. They feel like, tournament size. I would say that once you have the board all up flat on the table and you're playing the game, this really doesn't feel any different from, any other chess sets or chess approaches, besides the fact that you've got this drawstrings here on the side. But it's going to be an option for somebody out there that is looking for something a little bit different, or maybe that's specifically looking for something like this to suit their needs. In some situations, maybe you would want to have a bag like this. I'm not sure. My imagination isn't working really well this morning. I'm not really sure exactly for what situations you'd prefer this particular setup. I almost feel like they probably should have found a way to maybe like do a zip on the side. At least that would be kind of my opinion. Instead of having a drawstring here at the very top, if they could find a way to just make like a zipper here on one side and maybe a zipper on the other, so that way instead of having to, maybe you could like zip it up and that way have like one drawstring here at the very top and you just throw your pieces down in here in the middle. Maybe that would kind of save some space, or maybe even do like a one of these things, and then that way you have something that's compact and easy to carry. Maybe they could even implement to where after you zip everything up, they could have like a little tiny handle on the very top that you could either attach, or maybe one that's already there, so that way you can just carry this. Because, I mean, let's face it, this is probably a decent amount of space for all your chess pieces, and a scorebook, and everything you really need is probably this much. That's a quarter of the size of the whole board. So once you open it up, of course, and you put it like this, it becomes kind of big. But I guess this particular product, the way that it's designed, they just want you to go ahead and toss all your pieces down in there like this, and okay, then zip it up like this. That is my biggest concern, is when you're zipping it up like this, it immediately already like creates these creases here, as you guys can see. And so once you're done, I mean, you're good to go. So if I show up like this to a tournament, I mean, I don't know, it doesn't look terrible, but it just kind of looks, it's a little bit weird. What do you guys think about this particular product? Do you think it could have been improved? Do you like the design? Do you think it's unique enough to be a hot selling product? Or do you think this is kind of more or less of a flop in a sense? Anyways, let me know in the links below. And as always, thanks for dropping by. We always, or at least I try to always, bring you guys something new, something exciting, like in this case, something funny maybe. So be sure to leave me a like if you can, and leave a comment below. Let me know what you think about this, and I'll see you guys in the next video, okay? Bye-bye.